I remember the exact moment everything changed. If he cheated, it's because you failed as a wife, my mother-in-law said, her voice calm, almost instructional. My husband didn't deny it. He didn't defend me. He just looked down at his plate, like I wasn't even there. That was the moment I realized something much worse than betrayal. I wasn't part of the conversation anymore. That night, I went upstairs without saying a word. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I finally understood, nothing I said would matter. The house felt different behind a closed door. Same walls, same furniture, same life I had built piece by piece over 10 years. But suddenly, it felt temporary. Like I had been living in someone else's space this entire time. I sat at the edge of the bed, replaying everything. The late nights, the quiet phone calls, the way he stopped asking about my day. It hadn't started yesterday. It had been happening slowly, carefully. And I had adjusted to it, without realizing I was being pushed out. The next morning, nothing looked different. That was the unsettling part. Coffee was already poured. 2 cups. Not 3. My mother-in-law moved around the kitchen like everything was under control, because to her, it was. This doesn't need to be complicated, she said. These things happen. I looked at my husband. He didn't say a word. That told me everything. This wasn't a mistake. It was a decision. And they had already made it, together. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just stepped outside. For the first time in years, I stopped reacting and started thinking. I sat in my car and opened my phone. Not to call anyone. To check. Call logs, transactions, records I had never needed to question before. Until now. And then I saw it. Monthly transfers. Same amount, same account. Her name. Not random. Not emotional. Systematic. That's when it became clear. This wasn't just an affair. It was something built alongside my life, without me. I drove to a quiet parking lot and sat there for a long time. Not shocked. Not even angry. Just aware. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. 3 months of distance, 8 months of financial changes, a timeline that existed without my knowledge. They hadn't just betrayed me. They had planned around me. When I got back to the house, they were waiting. Same positions, same silence. But something had shifted. I wasn't walking into a situation anymore. I was observing it. She's not going anywhere, my mother-in-law said. Not defensive. Certain. I nodded. I'm not asking her to. That made my husband look at me for the first time. Confusion. Good. Let him feel that. Because for the first time, I wasn't playing the role they expected. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask questions. I just placed a notebook on the table. Names, dates, transfers. Nothing dramatic. But enough. I started writing things down. I said. My husband stepped closer. My mother-in-law stayed still. Always calculating. You've been transferring money, I added. Silence. Not denial. That told me more than any answer could. She needed help, he said. Weak. Incomplete. As a husband? I asked. No one answered that. Because they couldn't. That's when I understood something clearly. They weren't hiding this anymore. They had already justified it. Explained it. Resolved it. Without me. So I stopped asking for explanations. And started making decisions. I walked out of the house that day without looking back. Not because it didn't matter. But because I finally understood. Staying wouldn't change anything. Instead of going to a friend, or family, I went somewhere else. Somewhere I should have gone years ago. A lawyer. Someone who had helped us set things up in the beginning. Back when everything was still honest. I sat across from him and placed the notebook on his desk. He read quietly. Didn't interrupt. Then he looked at me and said something simple. You're not here because of the affair. He was right. You're here because of what comes with it. Assets, transfers, control. That word again. Control. "They've been preparing," he said. "Yes. And they assumed you wouldn't." He wasn't wrong. For the first time since this started, I felt something shift. Not emotionally. Strategically. "You still have leverage," he said. That was all I needed. We didn't rush. We didn't react. We verified. We secured what was already mine. And then we decided what they no longer had access to. When I returned to the house, they were waiting again. But this time, something was different. Not in the house. In them. Less certainty. More tension. "We need to settle this today," my husband said. I placed the folder on the table. Didn't open it. Didn't explain it. Just let it exist. He picked it up. "Read the first page. Then the second." His expression changed. Slowly. "What is this?" he asked. I looked at him. Calm. "It's the part you didn't think I would see." That was the moment everything shifted. For the first time. He didn't know what to say. For the first time. She didn't step in immediately. Because this wasn't something they could control. Not anymore. "I won't be staying here," I said. No emotion. No hesitation. Just the truth. "That's not how this works," he replied. I shook my head slightly. That's exactly how it works. For years, I had tried to belong in that house. Tried to fit into a system I didn't even realize existed. A system where silence meant agreement. Where control was mistaken for care. Where loyalty only went one way. But now, I understood it. Completely. I picked up my bag. Phone, wallet, keys. Everything I needed. Nothing I didn't. "I'll have someone contact you," I said. Not a threat. Just the next step. As I walked to the door, I paused for a second. Not because I was unsure. But because I finally understood something simple. I hadn't lost my marriage. I hadn't lost my place. I had lost access to something that was never truly mine. I stepped outside. Closed the door behind me. And for the first time in 10 years, I didn't feel like I was leaving. I felt like I was finally choosing myself.